Hello, everyone out there in YouTube. I know it's been a long time, but this is Hawkling, and welcome to the first episode of my Avatar the Last Airbender episode reviews. I'll think of a more snazzy title for it later. You might even see it on this video, but hey, I couldn't really come up with anything right now that's very, very clever. So that's all we have right now. And I think I should preface this. Yeah, this is going to be going through Avatar the Last Airbender. This is one of my favorite animated shows. Anime or not, I mean it's not anime, but one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite Western animation shows at the very least, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to sort of take a look back. I have not seen this show in a couple of years though, and we thought it'd be cool to take a look back and sort of rest my memory and kind of give my thoughts as I go along, episode by episode. This goes without saying, this is not a blind review. Obviously, I've seen it before, so this is not something that I've kind of coming across fresh for the first time. It has been a while, so I don't remember necessarily all of the details, in every episode, or maybe things to come. So I might be a little fuzzy on some of those. But this is not. If you want a blind vlog review, go check out Doug Walker's stuff he did a couple of years ago. Now, with that in mind, I'll try to go forward with this as if this is sort of a blind as possible review, in the sense in that there's not going to be a whole lot of in-depth discussion on future episodes, so there's not going to be any explicit spoilers. But at the same time, I can't promise that there's not going to be any references to anything in the future because, I mean, I can't. I'm human. I cannot, and I can't undo the fact that I've already seen this show. So that might to some degree at least, if not directly influence what I'm talking about, that might at least some way influence what I'm experiencing, even though I'm trying to experience this as freshly as possible. So that with those couple of caveats in mind, I think I'll get started here with this first episode. It's called the boy in the. Give me a second here. The boy in the iceberg. Yes, I forgot the name of the first episode I just saw like 30 minutes ago. So sorry about that. It's the first episode. It's okay. I mean, it's I don't know if you could really show like the strengths of this series within just and the first episode, because you have to do a lot of setup here, and there are clearly things here that are going to be set up for that will be developed a little bit further in the future. But but because of that, everything feels really basic. Like the characters are fairly basic at this point. It's clear based on this first episode that Sokka's gonna be the funny one, Katara's gonna be the level-headed one, Aang's gonna be very playful, Zuko's gonna be very proud, and Iroh's gonna be really kind of much more laid back and not as intense as his nephew is, obviously. So it does set up that baseline character for everyone, but at this point at least it does not really go much further than that. And I don't think you really can in this first episode, because there's a lot of room to really go further, and you sort of have to set up that baseline first before you go further. You know what I mean? And again, based on this first episode, if I do have a favorite character at this point, it's probably going to be Katara, because again, everyone else is fairly baseline established at this point, but it feels like Katara, at least more than any of them, has shown like a little bit more shown sort of multiple sides to herself, because she is the more serious, or I don't want to say the more serious, but the more level-headed, the more likely kind of just say, hey, you tell her brother, hey, you're being an idiot, and now calm down, And but at the same time, that she's not this total stick in the mud, funless person. She's actually, able to have fun. You see her kind of be a kid, I mean, especially in that scene where they're doing the sledding with the ice penguins, or sledding down the ice with the penguins or whatnot. And you do see there's multiple sides of her, which is, I think, that does help to flesh out the character even a little bit at this point. So that's something I definitely appreciate from this episode. I thought I thought she's, clearly a serious person, but at the same time, she is somewhat likable. Animation, as far as other things go in the show, the animation is really great. It's a little dated now, especially since I've gotten used to Korra. But for what it's worth and what the time it was developed in, it does look pretty sharp. I will say for the Amazon Prime transfer, though, it looks really, really. I don't know if it was it was the source that they got it from or something at Amazon Prime, but it looked kind of pixelated at points. And it's not that I don't know if it's necessarily the best way to view this, but right now there's no other way I can legally find to do it. So plus I have Amazon Prime, so you know what I mean. But as far as the animation goes, I don't think that there's a lot that really impresses in this episode. It's mainly because of what they have to do. There's nothing to impress in this episode. I mean, like there's not. It's mostly white background because they're in the Arctic, and it's mostly showing this little village. They have this this excursion into the sunken Fire Nation ship, and there is some cool stuff with it with the penguin sledding. But other than that, again, it's very white. It's very basic. But again, you can't really. Uh, it serves the purpose of this. The visuals serve the purpose of the story. You shouldn't have something really extravagant just to be really extravagant. You know what I mean? So I thought that it was solid, but so far unimpressive. And also another thing I should add, again, I'm trying to not talk about future episodes as much as possible, but you know, in this particular case, I sort of need to bring this up. As much as they're still sort of building up, trying to build up future things, it is kind of clear that they're still working some of the minor kinks out at this point. I mean, a lot of the world is really well established, and there is a lot of things that kind of are the way they are in the future. And again, sorry about bringing up future episodes, but I kind of need to bring this up here. Not a major spoiler, by the way. And about spoilers, I will try to avoid mentioning them as much as possible here, but you know, nothing's guaranteed. If something comes up that there is a spoiler, I will in editing, I will at least leave a link for you to jump on. I'll at least leave. Let me start this again. I will at least leave a link in the annotations to allow you to jump forward, you know, to whatever time that spoiler is over with. So don't worry about that if you're new to this show. Again, I was going back to future episodes. They're clearly trying to still work things out a little bit, and what the biggest example of this, or really the only major example of this, is the fact that the penguins, even though they look different from regular penguins, are still called just penguins. And I may be wrong about this, but I think that this is the only time, other than a certain bear in season 2, where the animal is just the name of the earth animal, just a penguin, or just, you know, later on the bear. It's not like, you know, the ostrich penguin or whatever it is, or like the dog bear or something. You know, well, that is kind of an interesting thing that they seem to run with later on, but clearly hasn't been established at this point. So I thought that was interesting to point out, and that they're still clearly trying to develop this world right now as it goes in this first episode. Other than that, there's not that much to say. It's pretty much standard setup, a little bit of a kind of just establishing the characters. That they find the Avatar, you know, frozen in the iceberg, or boy in the iceberg, and they free him. And sort of trying to get to know each other a little bit at this point. And there's this and of course Zuko is after the Avatar. It's kind of the thing that he thinks, even at this, the thing that he thinks will somehow restore his honor if he captures the Avatar. And that's something worth exploring in the future. Again, a lot of the stuff is just sort of setting things up that are worth exploring in the future. So I won't get into, you know, the details of that in this episode. But other than that, no, it's not the most spectacular episode, but I don't think it's supposed to be, because again, it's just episode 1. It's supposed to. There's 2 approaches to a first episode usually. I think it's either just hook you from the beginning, like making something really awesome that you want to stay around for, or sort of have this slow build up, this slow burn that drop little nuggets of things along the way that might be developed in the future. But again, and this is more of that slow burn method, and I think that as far as the series goes, it's not the worst way to go about it. I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the first episode of Avatar the Last Airbender. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, favorite, like, all that awesome stuff you guys do. Please do that. And I will see you guys next time.